Hi, I'm State Senator Anthony Sykes. It is May 23rd, 2008, and it is time for the Sykes Update. Well, as you may have noticed, this is a Friday, not a Thursday. For the first time, we're doing our Sykes Update on a Friday when we are in session. First Friday, we've had to be in session because it's the last day of session. Things moving very fast right now. A number of conference committee reports being brought directly to the calendar, and things are just happening one right after the other. We also have General Conference Committee on Appropriations, getting the last appropriation items wrapped up. But there are a couple issues I'd like to talk about now that I've worked on this session, and one is what I call the gang bill, House Bill 3001, which I was the principal Senate author of. Representative Dennis Johnson, my counterpart in Duncan, was the House author. This came as a result of last year's gang task force and to address the growing gang problem we have here in Oklahoma. This bill cleared both the House and Senate at one time, but then was sent to conference, unfortunately. And once it went to conference, it was signed out and placed on the General Conference Committee on Appropriations agenda. Unfortunately, the Senate Democrats have blocked a hearing on that measure, and I'm very disappointed in this bipartisan effort that has nothing to do with politics, but everything to do with public safety. And certainly we'll be taking a look if we cannot get that measure out by the end of the day to getting it out next year. This is something we need in all of Oklahoma to address a growing gang problem and to get the situation under control before it gets any worse. Another thing we took up today was a bond issue. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the bond package, roughly $500 million, $500 million of money that's going to be appropriated or basically borrowed. This is when the state goes into debt. Oklahoma has a balanced budget amendment, and we can't go into debt. The Constitution says that any time that we do go into debt, the people must approve it. Over the years, the Supreme Court has ruled for various reasons, oh, that's not necessarily true, that circumstance can be circumvented, and I just don't believe in that. I think if we're going to go into debt for money, that we're going to have to use future appropriations just to pay the interest on. That should be something the people take action on, and not just us. So the roads and bridges part of it was a very good and worthwhile project, and I support what it's going to go to, but there's other things in there in the bond issue. One of the projects was a dam project just for the city of Tulsa that the city of Tulsa citizens voted down just a month or so ago themselves. So they brought it here to the state, and now unfortunately the entire state's going to have to pay for it, plus the interest on it out of the General Appropriation Fund. One thing I did do this morning was to try to do that, to try to send these issues to a vote of the people. Not that I am in disagreement with all of them. Certainly there's some worthwhile projects in there and some things we need, like the roads and bridges. But if we're going to be doing this, the people need to decide it. We should invite the people, our constituents, to make this decision, because they're ultimately the ones who are going to be paying for it when in this tight budget time, in anticipated shortfall next year, in the current economic situation. I don't think it's a prudent thing to do, especially when you consider we just refinanced a bunch of our student loan bonds at a 16% interest rate because we could not find what is considered an A-rated bond buyer. We had to go to the auction market, and when that happens, that low rate comes off. It's just like a credit card. When that short introductory rate goes away, here comes the crippling interest, and that's the situation we're in. I don't want to see us double down on that in this time.
At the state capitol today, State Senator Anthony Sykes of Moore tried to change that bond package today with a substitute motion.
Thank you, Madam President. Please recognize Senator Crutchfield again for Senate Bill 1373.
Senator Crutchfield, you now have the floor for Senate Bill 1373.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator 1373 is a bond bill for endowed chairs.
Will there be questions? Will there be questions? Senator Sykes for a question.
Madam President, I believe I have a substitute motion at the desk.
Clerk will read.
Madam President, I move to reject the Conference Committee report for Senate Bill 1373 and return the bill to a Conference Committee for further conference with instructions to the Senate conferees to return a Conference Committee substitute that provides that the provisions of Senate Bill 1373 that authorize the issuance of obligations for endowed chairs be referred to a vote of the people as a legislative referendum from Senator Sykes.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members. Members, what my substitute motion that the motion pending to table does is basically sends what we're about to do to a vote of the people. Rather than us make the decision, let's comply with the Constitution and send it to a vote of the people so that they're the ones that determine whether these obligations are going to be made or not that are going to greatly affect us in the future. Thank you for your indulgence.
Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Madam President.
Please recognize Senator Crutchfield for Senate Bill 1374.
Senator Crutchfield, you're now recognized for the Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 1374.
Thank you, Madam President. Senators, 1374 is a bond bill for soil conservation, $25 million, Native American culture, $25 million, and the Tulsa Dam, $25 million.
Will there be questions? Will there be questions? Senator Sykes for a question.
Madam President, I have a substitute motion on the desk.
Okay. Clerk will read.
Madam President, I move to reject the Conference Committee report for Senate Bill 1374 and return the bill to a Conference Committee for further conference with the following instructions to the Senate conferees: to return a Conference Committee substitute that provides that 1, the provisions of SB 1374 that authorize the issuance of obligations for the Native American Cultural and Educational Authority be referred to a vote of the people as a separate legislative referendum. 2, the provisions of Senate Bill 1374 that authorize the issuance of obligations for Oklahoma Conservation Commission be referred to a vote of the people as a separate legislative referendum. And 3, the provisions of Senate Bill 1374 that authorize the issuance of obligations for the River Parks Authority be referred to a vote of the people as a separate legislative referendum from Senator Sykes.
Senator Sykes, you wish to explain your motion? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, what this does is send these measures to a vote of the people, which our Constitution indicates that we should. Different matters than the ones that were before you the other time. I just ask that you'd consider them and support the substitute motion. Thank you. But however, my efforts were not successful, was not able to get that to a vote of the people, so it did pass, it is coming. And like I said, there are some worthwhile projects in there, but I would like to see it have done just a different way. Well, we are still in session right now. There's going to be a quorum call here shortly, so I better sign off. But if you have a question, please don't hesitate to contact me. I always look forward to talking to constituents. And in the near future, look for an extended version of the Sykes update where we will do a complete session wrap-up. Thank you so much.